I wanted to create a program that I've always believed in, and I tried to implement when I was first Virgin Active, as I said, now almost 20 years ago, where I believe that on a group training timetable at a gym, there was a lack of structure. That if you went on a Monday and I wanted you to come every day of the week at 4:30 in the afternoon, as an example, that every day was planned to work with the day after and the day before. So that if you, for instance, did high intensity interval training today, you wouldn't do plyometrics the next day, as an example. You would do something more like strength and conditioning. And then so if you do high intensity interval training, you've got strength and you've got cardio. And then the next day would be just strength. And the following day would be just cardio. And then the day after that would be more sort of core stability, strength, and balance. So it gives you a break from the other two, but you're still getting a good workout.
Yeah.
And then the following day would be something more of a cardio strength based, but not like the first day. And then the last day would be something stretch based, but there was still a strength element in it. So the idea is that the one day flows from the next, and whatever you do today is balanced by what you did yesterday and the day and what you're going to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
And this has been a program concept that I've been playing around with in my head for many years, and I've tried to implement it twice in a group training environment. The difficulty is you have to have the consistent instructor to teach the same class, and you have to have the same person teaching those 5 classes in the gym in that week. And that person has to know what was done the day before and the day after to make sure that the balance is correct. So that's where the difficulty came in. But the concept of a 6-day training program is what I've always believed in. But I knew I wasn't going to be able to implement it in a gym environment, and I would only ever be able to do it online. And that's really where it started. And I just always thought that if I was going to continue with fitness and do it because it was good for me physically to do anyway, I just wanted to build an online platform, create my 6-day program. I load a new video every day, charge a subscription for it that you get every month. And then I basically charge you like a minimal gym membership. And it's there, it's pre-recorded, and you can do it whenever you want. So you don't have to be stuck to a time.
Yeah.
And the beautiful part of all of that is that I could be anywhere in the world doing it. And my vision is to be in a hotel, as an example. Like this week, I'm in a hotel in London, hypothetically speaking, and I'm using the hotel's bedrooms or pool areas or whatever it is as my backdrop, kind of using it as a promotional space for the hotel, but filming these videos that go online, and then there's the dual benefit out of it. That's the vision. That's the ultimate
absolutely
vision.
Fantastic. Around the world with Ryan Matheson.
Destination Ryan. And I've actually I don't know if you've seen it, I've got these little hashtag bylines that I use, and my favorite one to use is called Take Me With You. And the reason I want to do it at a hotel is to show you that no matter where you are, you don't need a gym, you don't need equipment. You can exercise in a hotel room, by a pool, in a bedroom, in a lounge, doesn't matter. You can take me with you. And by me doing it in the hotel shows you how many areas within a hotel you can actually exercise.
Yeah.
So that's the vision behind it. And that's what I personally would get the biggest thrill out of doing, because then I get everything I want, but I'm giving you everything you want, and it makes sense. So that is what I'm building up towards.
It's very achievable. My goodness. It's.
And here's the thing. So the moment lockdown is over, and I've made relationships through another project, my Pink Table project, which I mentioned to you, that's another story. But I've made relationships with hotels and the general managers. So the moment lockdown is over, I can go, I'm going to pick 4 hotels in South Africa that I'm going to do this with, and it doesn't have to cost them initially, but just so I can prove the process of how many spaces you can work in. And then on top of that, should it be a brand, let's say like the Four Seasons as an example, and I only did it within the Four Seasons, whatever that content is can go into their online in-room service as an additional service the hotel offers, that this is our online trainer. So that's the end game, that's the vision. So my Instagram concept is to basically more just to promote me, and the concept of a 9-minute challenge, those exercises are little excerpts from my 6-day week videos.
Okay.
And as an example, on a Monday, I would do high intensity interval training. And on that day, I have a I have 4 blocks in the workout, and each block I've got 3 cardio exercises and 1 leg strength, 1 upper body strength, and 1 core strength. So that's 6 exercises. In a block, you'll do a 30-second round, and you'll repeat the block and do a minute per exercise. But within that block, I've then got, within that day, I've got 12 different cardio exercises that I could put into a 9-minute challenge. And I've got 12 different strength exercises I can put into a 9-minute challenge. And it's just excerpts of what I do. But the concept of a 9-minute challenge is that if you only have 9 minutes to spare, do this. The hope is that you will do the 9-minute challenge a few times in one round. So your aim is to do up to 4 of the same challenge in one round, or to do a cardio challenge first, followed by 2 of the strength challenges that you find by going through it, followed by a stretch challenge. And that's primarily just a promotional thing. At some point it might become a monetized thing, but it may not if I don't need it. And then what that is it's promoting the other things that I'm doing, of which my 6-day week program, which is my Commit to Fit program, which is at this stage is only on Facebook under a group called Commit to Fit.
Yeah.
And that's an hour a day, and it's high intensity interval training on a Monday. It's strength and conditioning on a Tuesday. It's cardio fitness accumulation on a Wednesday. A Thursday, I do core stability, strength and balance. A Friday, I do a super circuit power training. And a Saturday, I do stretch therapy and relaxation. And those are all 45-minute to hour sessions. And the intention behind that is I would love somebody to do every single day of the week.
Yeah.
But I believe the value in it is that even if you just did 3 of the days, even if you just did the strength and conditioning, the core stability, strength and balance, and the stretch training, and then every other day did something else like running or going for a swim or whatever it was that it is, that you would still benefit out of it equally. I would love for people to just do what I do, but everything I do is done just with a mat and hand weights, and I accomplish all of that with a mat and hand weights. You don't need anything else but that.
And are they an hour each?
Between 45 minutes and an hour.
Okay.
Depends, because I break it in as such that you can pause it and take a breath, because sometimes the breather I take might be shorter than the one that you need to take. So it depends. But the intention is, with an intended break, like I maybe only show you a break for 5 seconds, but if you pause it for a minute, then it works out to an hour. So it includes your break time. But yeah, it's an hour essentially.
And you offer this live? You offer it live?
No, so that is all pre-recorded.
Okay.
No. So that content, Commit to Fit today, and the reason I've chosen that is, and why I say today is I was trying to find a byline on social media that hadn't been used. And Commit to Fit was used by everybody, but nobody said Commit to Fit today. And the concept behind Commit to Fit today is just focus on today. Don't worry about what you have to do tomorrow, what you did yesterday. Just commit to fit today.
I like that.
So that's all pre-recorded content. That will ultimately be my primary base of what I do, and that's what I'm working on. The workouts aren't easy, which is why I've allowed you to take you get the beauty of all of that is you can just push pause.
Yeah.
Take a breather when you need to. And then from that, I have something that I believe in very strongly, and it's on the second day of that program, which is my strength and conditioning program of that Commit to Fit today. Day number 2 of Commit to Fit today, strength and conditioning. I've structured that I break. It's just an hour workout with 6 focuses. It's a wake up stretch, a leg and balance block, arms and upper body block, a bum block, just purely focused on the glutes, an ab and core block, and a relaxation stretch block. And I actually film those in 10-minute segments. So when you're watching it on Commit to Fit today, you'll see it as a full hour's program. But if you go to my second group, which is called Power Block Daily, you'll get it in 10-minute segments.
Okay.
And if you just open up the page, it'll just flow. As I've mentioned it, wake up stretch, legs and balance, arms, bum, abs, relaxation stretch. But the concept behind that is, depending on how much time you have in a day, is to pick and choose the focus areas that you want to work out. So you may not want to do arms. You may not just want to do a warm-up and a leg and balance block and a bum block and then move on.
Yeah.
You may not have more than 10 minutes a day in your workout. My whole thing is, if you have 10 minutes a day, do one of these. Because I've focused it and condensed it to a point where if you want to do a leg workout, that if you only had 10 minutes, and you know me, if you've only had 10 minutes, I can make sure and guarantee that in those 10 minutes, you will feel that you've done a leg workout the next day.
Absolutely.
All right. And so it's a condensed program where if you just pick abs, you will know by the next day you've done an ab workout. And the concept is this just focused training on specific muscle groups that you can do in a full class for an hour, or you can pick and choose. You can make it a 10-minute workout, 20-minute workout, 30-minute workout, depending on how you want to do it, depending on what your needs are. And the beautiful part about that is you can mix and match it from blocks from previous weeks as well. So you can kind of build your own program. Initially, I was going to call my, before I called me Ryan K Fitness, I was calling what I did the loading block. And that's kind of where it started, where you build your own workout. And then I realized it was confusing for people. So I sort of scrapped that name, and I thought Ryan K Fitness is very obvious. This guy by the name of Ryan doing fitness online, you know? So and those are the three things essentially that you've got. Is you've got the power block, the Power Move 9-minute challenge, which is on Instagram. It's also available on Facebook. You've got my Commit to Fit Today program, and then you've got the Power Block Daily, which is excerpts of Commit. They're all excerpts of Commit to Fit. It just depends on how I've broken it up. So I'm giving you multiple options of how you can use it. And then above and beyond that, I've got a few live classes a week. I've got where I do a strength and conditioning class, which is my favorite thing to teach, is strength and conditioning. So I do that 5 times a week, where you book it via Quicket, and you can book it anywhere in the world. And that's just 5 times a week. I do a strength and conditioning class. And then I also do a stretch session on a Saturday morning, which is live, and that's free. And then something that I've always wanted to do, especially when I had this vision of doing online videos, was I wanted to team teach with instructors that I look up to. And I'm doing that once a week, and it makes me the happiest person alive, because I'm finally able to do something I've always wanted to do, which is team teach. And I've done 2 already. I've got a 3rd one coming up this Wednesday, where I've picked, as I said, instructors that are known for being the best in the industry and people I've looked up to and I've worked with. And we do a live Zoom team teach, where they teach for 10 minutes, I teach for 10 minutes. And Zoom is brilliant because it works so well, because as long as I'm teaching and talking, the screen's on me. In the moment, okay, your turn, then the screen goes back to him. You can pass the whole thing live on Facebook as well. And I get so excited talking about it, as you can hear, because it's something I've always wanted to do, and it works. And it's like it's my fun. You know, that particular session we're turning into, please interrupt me if I'm talking too much.
No, it's wonderful.
That particular session I'm turning into, it was initially just a promotional thing for me and the other instructor. And that, besides the fun aspect of it, my intention behind it is there are a lot of instructors that haven't had the forethought that I've had. And that's not an arrogance thing. I've discovered it's the truth. They hadn't been working online. So now they've been thrown into homebound online fitness, and they don't know what to do. And I'm discovering my initial intention was just to expose myself to their audience and vice versa, so that we could sort of cross-pollinate each other's audiences. So if I'm not a yoga teacher, I'll do an online class with a yoga teacher. I'll do 10 minutes of something else, and they'll do yoga in their 10 minutes. And I've discovered that a lot of the people I've contacted really need the help as to how to do online training. Absolutely. And it's allowed me a platform to start helping people on a private level. And this is now, all of a sudden, it's just given me such a level of enthusiasm that I'm becoming the online fitness teacher.
Fantastic,
as to how to be online. And this is literally in the last week that I've discovered this. So it's given me another layer of what I'm doing, but without being sidetracked, to doing something I don't need to do. And I decided yesterday that, you know what, we both got to have enough of an audience. I'm going to make it a charity drive for a hunger scheme in South Africa during COVID-19 lockdown. And I'm actually going to make that class. It's going to be a paid-for session, but it's going to go anywhere between 20 Rand for the class. So if you really can't afford much, but you want to make a little donation, there's 20 bucks. But it allows me, Quicket South Africa, quicket.co.za has allowed, they've provided a platform for bands and orchestras and individual performers and fitness trainers to do an online ticketing system for their classes. So it's
Absolutely brilliant.
allowing me,
Wow.
it's allowing me to create the thing where I create a Facebook event page, and in your ticket link on your Facebook event page, if you click on that, it sends you to the Cricut page. You book my class, they send me the money the next day. Bob's your uncle, I don't have to deal with finances. And what they've also allowed in that is a donation system to support charities in the industry whilst doing this. So I don't have to claim the money. The system is I can direct your payments directly to a charity. I don't even see that money. It goes directly. I'll get an update of money raised. So I'm going to turn that particular session into a fundraiser where you can donate anything between 20 Rand to 1,000 Rand, depending on what
Mm.
but at the same time, so there's that aspect. At the same time, I'm in a position where I'm helping other trainers figure
Yeah.
out online training.
Yeah.
I'm doing something that I'm excited about, and I'm teaching the people I've always wanted to teach.
Yeah.
And the 2 times I've done it so far, it has been honestly one of the biggest thrills ever. And the beauty
Oh,
of it is that I've had their clients follow me as well, which so it benefits. It's an all-round
Ryan,
thing.
I'm so impressed. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal how it's just all sort of coming together for you in a just in a way that you clearly are passionate about. It's kind of what you were meant to be doing. It's and
That's
even
the
the
funny thing.
helping the other trainers is
Yeah.
my goodness me, there's a need for it out there because so many trainers, especially the older trainers, I would imagine, it's hard. This IT online stuff is really hard if you haven't been,
Sorry, there's
you
a
know,
helicopter. Um, what I've found very distressing for me, and it really broke my heart, is that the sad reality is that not everybody has the position and the luxury of Wi-Fi.
yeah, yeah,
So, and I didn't think about it until I started doing this, team teachers, I call it. And I call it my fit friends. So, team teach live with one of my new fit friends. And the reality is that if you're going to do a Zoom call for an hour and a half you probably be online for an hour, half an hour before to about 15 minutes after. So let's say an hour and 45 minutes. You're essentially looking at a 2 gig call because it's 2 gigs to do it's 1,080 megabytes for a 1 hour Zoom call for the upload and download. And if you look at the time before and the time after that you add on to that, let's just say an additional 45 minutes, it's 2 gigs to do a Zoom call. 2 gigs to purchase straight off as a purchase for data is 150 Rand. So I'm lucky that I have Wi-Fi. I'm very blessed that I have Wi-Fi,
yeah,
but not everybody has Wi-Fi. And it's a case of how do you help? Because there are ways around it. You just basically say, well, if we're going to facilitate online training and you're going to do a one-on-one session, then you need to make sure that you've got your personal training rate plus your data rate. And that client needs to forward you that money in advance so that you can purchase the data for that call, and you just need to manage yourself. So you can do it.
yeah,
But I think having to think about how to get around it can be very daunting. And then at the same time, it's a case of, but if I want to do a live class, you have to make sure that the bare minimum that you're going to get 150 Rand out of that class, which is 3 people if you're charging $50 a session. It can work, but I've just suddenly realized how daunting it is and how when you don't know what to look for, or if you've been forced into doing something, your brain goes into the sort of freeze and you think, I don't know what to do. And when I've been chatting with a lot of these instructors, they didn't know what was out there. They didn't know that you could do something with Cricut. They didn't know that you could broadcast live through Zoom. And that has been such a wonderful thing when you're kind of opening up the doors by just
yeah,
talking about your own experience and how to do it.
yeah.
So I'm grateful that you're doing this with me because I think so many people need to realize that there is a possibility.
Well,
But one of the problems is that a lot of trainers may be good in a studio environment or online. And I've heard from my private clients about how their friends who have online trainers now, saying that they're really struggling with how to do it, that the trainer is just not translating well online.
Mm.
And you know, there's a very interesting fear about a camera, because
Mm.
essentially that's all it is. I, for one, and it's interesting how I was talking, sorry, you were saying something about how I've kind of found my niche. This morning I was literally having a conversation with a best friend of mine by saying that, you know, fitness found me and I've been running away from it for a long time. And now quarantine's forced me into lockdown with it and I'm stuck. And I'm very grateful. And
Mm.
I've really just zoned in on it. And I was always good at it. I just never always believed it. And I never ever felt like the picture of a perfect trainer. So, and that's, somebody said to me very interestingly that it makes me a real trainer because it makes me a real person, where I talk about how sometimes I struggle with food, or I might struggle with wine, or I might struggle with this, and I struggle with weight, and then I struggle with clothes that don't fit. And I'm 100% not the picture perfect person of when you see these online fitness stars. I'm not that, and I don't know if I ever will be that, and I don't have the energy to go on a diet to be that. But I am healthy, and I am somebody that's strong, and I am fit, and there's things that I can do that a lot of people else can't do, and I have a range of things that I can do that if I put it all into sort of one basket, not everybody can fill the basket like I do in that regard.
Mm.
But I don't necessarily have a six-pack. Do you know what I mean? And I look at that as those are my insecurities. But the one thing I've found a passion for is figuring things out like this. And the interesting thing about being a fitness instructor, let's just take it just from the studio instructor versus on one-on-one, is there's two very different mindsets. One-on-one is actually, to me, harder than a group environment. And one-on-one means you have to actually engage with somebody.
Mm.
And if you don't get on with that person, it's awful. I
Mm.
find clients that I don't like because I'd rather not take your money than dislike you.
Mm.
Um, and then you get the group training environment where it's like putting on a show, you know,
Yeah.
and you always encourage as a group fitness instructor to put on a show, jazz hands. I'm
Yeah.
not lying. That was one of the things we always discussed, where you've got to be this 200% person to get 80% out of it. Now take that concept and put it online, where you can't physically engage with people.
Mm. Mm.
It's really intimidating. And I think it was one of the reasons it probably took me so long, that maybe this is probably why I'm grateful for the lockdown, is because it kind of gave me you don't have a choice now, buddy. You got
Yeah.
to get comfortable with being on camera, whether you
Yeah.
like it or not. You've always wanted to be grand ideal. I've always wanted to be an online fitness star, you know, and I say that taking the arrogance out of it was just the ideal of being the top billing of fitness and going to a hotel and doing exercises.
Mm. Mm.
But I was always scared of the camera.
Mm.
And I'm a confident person. You know me. I'm quite confident. But I'm
Mm.
petrified of a camera because I don't like myself. In this space, I see myself all the time.
So
It's
disconcerting, I know.
oh my God. And then I look at it like now and I'm thinking, is this lighting okay on my face? Because for some reason, the morning lighting in the room because I'm actually in my own bedroom, just to show you. I do all my live classes in my bedroom because I've got this massive space. You can see it's a big space, you know, and it's beautiful and it's perfect. And I've got this window here, which is this massive window. So the lighting is perfect. But in the mornings, it highlights the bags under my eyes. I'm far more attractive on camera in the afternoons than I am in the morning. So this is shit that's going, excuse my language, but this is stuff that's going on in my head while I'm talking to you on camera. I'm conscious of the bags under my eyes. I'm conscious of my hairline. I'm conscious of this because I can see it all the
You
time.
are absolutely right.
Depending on the industry that you're in, my perception was that if you were a marketing agent or you were a sales agent or whatever it was, it doesn't really matter what you look like as long as you could sell your product. Whereas a fitness person, you need to be the product. I am an example of what I do. So if I had to teach from the waist down, I would probably sell far more than I would if I had to teach from the waist up, in my perception. Meaning, like if I was standing naked teaching in front of you and I was just showing you my legs, like I'm proud of those. But I have the body fat I don't want to have. And it's gotten me to a point where I have to accept that this is who I am. And until I accept it, you're not going to accept it. And the moment I accept it and I'm unabashed by it, then it won't bother you as much. But if it bothers me while I'm teaching it to you, it's going to bother you. So, and what I've found, just something else that I do on a side note with regards to all this fitness stuff, is I always had this idea of doing trying to find a way to be motivational, because as much as I have been accused of being opinionated, I do believe I have value in some of the things I say. So I then, in this fear of not feeling like the picture perfect person that I thought I needed to be, I finally started taking selfies of myself. And I did a series of little I did a little background screen behind me, and I did 3 little backgrounds, and one was a wooden background, and one was a white background, and one actually was a gold glitter background because I thought I needed to be flashy. And I took all these photographs of myself and was trying to do different poses and without being cheesy, and some of them were cheesy. And I was like taking photographs of myself to say, this is me. This is who I am. I can't get away from it, so you're not going to get away from it. And I've actually started using it as motivational writing, where 2 or 3 times a week, I'll put up one of those pictures, and I'll do another series when I've run out, saying, this is me, this is my face, these are my lines, these are my wrinkles. The truth is that there's not one of those. The only thing that has been airbrushed in those pictures is the color of my teeth. And I will do a post about it, and I'll be honest about it.
Yeah.
It's coming. There's a post where I've covered my hair, and it's a case of the reason I've done it because I've got a thinning spot. And I've talked about that. But inside all of that and being online, it's really exposing me that I also do motivational writing and talk about accepting who you are right now.
Oh, Ryan, you are just speaking my language. I have got goosebumps all over my body right now. This issue of body image is huge. And I have to say, I mean, I've done a few of your classes. I've chatted to you a little bit. One of the most endearing things you ever said was when you said something about, I always thought I was the fat trainer. First of all, my jaw dropped. Because that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But you were voicing what we are all telling ourselves. And it was so endearing. You are so natural. And I think that is one of the beauties of you, your little niche as a trainer, is how natural and how open you are. You make yourself quite vulnerable that I think we can all relate to. But having said that, I understand that I've been to your class, I've had a chance to talk to you. The trust has already been created between you and me, because I've had that. When you are having to do this online and you haven't physically met your client or your clients, the people joining your class, they don't know you yet. That trust still has to be formed. So I can imagine it's like a first impression.
Yeah. Do you know what I've discovered? And here's another beauty that I've discovered with online stuff that makes me very happy. Is we as trainers, sometimes we know it and we abuse it, and sometimes we know it and it scares us. But we as trainers, we used to refer to it in the very beginning of my aerobic career, was we looked up to it in a godlike manner sometimes, where people hang on every word we have to say. So we've got to be careful about what we say, because the one thing that I think most people want is to feel good about the way they look above anything else. And it's vain, and in some regards it's stupid, but the one thing we all want to feel is good about the way we look. And I'm one of those people where I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff, but I'm not going to make you, if you're overweight, in your opinion, my opinion, anybody's opinion, I'm not going to say to you, look, you little fat blob, you need to do something about it, and I'm not going to say, but I'm not, if you ask me, do you think I'm overweight? I'm not going to say, no, you're perfect. If I think that you need to lose weight, I'll tell you. But I'll also say to you, and there's a woman by the name of Nicole Arbour, who has been horribly shamed for having a conversation called Dear Fat People. And if you listen to what she's actually saying, she's not saying that fat people are ugly people, that fat people are bad people. What she's saying is that if you are grossly overweight, you're unhealthy, and it's not good for you from a healthy perspective. And she's being very real, but she's not looking at a fat person saying, you're a fat person. And I've become very much aware of, in a group training environment, the power you have about what you say. And there are moments when I am incredibly real. When somebody said to me once, people are very complacent to a large degree. and people use, I'll give you an example. The woman complained about an back exercise that she did in a class, and she said, "Oh no, my back's sore." And I said, "What happened?" She said, "No, I had an accident." And we kind of moved on, taught the class afterwards. I spoke to her afterwards, and I said to her, "When did you have this accident?" "Oh no, it was about 12 years ago." And I said, "Well, don't you think it's time you got a grip and dealt with it?" And it was a very harsh thing for me to say, and I know it was, and I probably could have worded it better. But my point was that sometimes we hold on to, the biggest trend is, I've got a fusion in my lower spine, L4 and L5 sort of thing. And I'm like, do you even know how it restricts you? Because most people think it restricts them completely, and it actually doesn't. Certain things don't restrict you as much as you think you do. So I found a way to be very real with people, but I've also realized I've got to be very careful of who I'm speaking to when I'm speaking. But we very, very definitely have a sense of power and ability that we can break somebody's confidence if we're not using it correctly. And I found the best way to get around all of that is to be as real about me as possible.
Absolutely.
And so that it allows me the moment, because I have to say to myself, Ryan, get a grip, many days. And then there are days, and this is one of the things, like these little motivational pieces that I'm writing, where there are days when I say, sometimes it's okay not to get up today. Sometimes it's okay to lie in bed and feel miserable, but just do it today. Don't do it every day. Just do it today. Because that fat's not going to go away on its own. But today, while it's still attached to you, you might as well still keep loving you in the process, because you're not going to go away. I was dabbling in doing an online photography course, and I needed to be fit, and I started going to the gym. And that's literally all it was, is I felt unfit and I wasn't happy with myself. So I started going to do gym classes. And in one of the classes that I did, an aerobics class, the instructor said to me, "You're really good, you should do an aerobics course." And that was it. I did an aerobics course. The very next month I signed up for an aerobics course, and I've been teaching ever since. And that was when I was 21. And in that year, I ended pursuing the law degree, because I knew I didn't want to pursue another. I was already 2 years in, and I knew another 5 years was going to kill me.
Yeah.
So I just stopped, and I just pursued fitness. And I think at the time, my intention with fitness was just to sort of make ends meet and pay the bills. And I got wrapped up in it, and then I started working at Virgin Active. Within a year, I was in a management position running group training at one of the gyms, and I did that for 6 years. And then I realized that I didn't want to be in management anymore. I would be more financially sound if I had worked for myself, doing private training and teaching classes. And that's kind of where it stopped. And that was by the time I think I was then 26, 27. And I've been doing group training and private training ever since. And I actually, in all that time, believed it was just a means to an end. I didn't realize that to a large degree it was my end. Yeah. And I was actually just discussing this morning with a friend on the phone that I've been running away from fitness my whole life, thinking I was never very good at it. I never particularly felt that I was the picture of physical perfection that people would want you to be as a fitness trainer. Always ran myself down that way. And I just thought it was a means to an end until other passions came alive, but it never ever went away. And it's interesting with this whole lockdown story that has forced me into a position to focus on something that I had wanted to be getting on. I said to myself, if I was going to continue with fitness, I wanted to do online fitness. I wanted to primarily focus on online fitness. And if I was going to do anything live, it would be special events. And it forced me into a space to focus into online fitness. And the interesting thing is that I've suddenly re-engaged my passion for why I started it in the first place. And that, other than the fact that it's been lucrative for me, not perfectly lucrative, but lucrative enough, that I've actually re-engaged my passion. And I remembered, it's reminded me why I'm good at what I do. So that's my story.
Oh, that's so great that you're sort of able to turn this COVID-19 time into something positive. I mean, we've got to be emotionally agile. You've got to actually move with it, and it sounds like it was actually just waiting in the wings for you. But
do you know? Yeah, because if it didn't happened, I probably wouldn't have pushed as hard. And what I've
Yeah.
done in the last 6 weeks has been, you know, astronomical. I'm very proud of myself, you know.
Yeah, because it takes time, doesn't it? You've actually got to have time. And then when you're at home, suddenly you've got that time.
Yeah, but the benefit is that I had been working on it for a year already. So there were a lot of things that I knew that I was doing already. But what I've discovered in the lockdown period, because I was just focused on this, has been wonderful. So yeah, you do need the time to just isolate and focus on it.
So just to clarify, you did an aerobics course when you were about 21. And then you were primarily doing group training, and then you were doing individual training in amongst that. Like personal training.
I know. When I did the aerobics, I only really started doing personal training when I resigned from Virgin Active, so that was about 7 years later. But until then, I was just primarily doing group fitness. Yeah.
Okay. And do you go to people's homes for this individual training, or do you also do it at the gyms? Or
yeah, the idea of doing personal training and being stuck at one gym all day long would drive me insane. I'm definitely somebody who likes to move around. It's the same as being stuck behind the same desk in an office. It would kill me. And I think that was the other thing that pushed me off law. And the pleasure was either driving to go and teach classes at a different gym every day, or going to people's homes. And it's been wonderful because I'm very lucky. It hasn't always been the case, but it is now the case that every single one of my clients I would consider a close friend.
Yeah.
So it's not just about the time I spend training them.
Yeah, I think that's so wonderful about this industry is if you do one-on-ones, because I have had that experience. You get very close. You know, it's a very vulnerable thing to do with another person. Actually, you're very exposed, and you get to talking.
Yeah.
And I think it's
the thing is, and you've got to be careful, because I'm one of the biggest talkers, and I've got to monitor how much I'm talking, because I can get very distracted when I'm training somebody. Funnily enough, all my privates have said to me that training with me online is much harder than training in person. And I think for some reason we don't talk. We still talk, but we don't talk as much as we used to.
Yeah.
So the focus is very different, but it is something where there is a vulnerability, there is a realness to it, there is a relationship that comes with it, and you've got to make sure that you're both managing the relationship, that whilst I'm training you, I'm still in charge and I'm still providing you with a service, but you don't own me, and outside of that, we're friends, you know, and a lot of them are socialized outside of training, and we've managed to find a level of respect that in that hour, you listen to me. Just because, and it's wonderful. And what I found has been beautiful is that there is a level of trust, and it's interesting how I obviously must be good at what I do because they trust me implicitly with what I tell them to do. And it's a wonderful, I'm very humbled by that, and it's a wonderful feeling that I have some clients that will own me, and they're so excited now that I'm online, because now they can train with me every day. You know, and it's wonderful.
So what does online mean to you? Actually, before you answer that, you said that you were trying to get online about 1.5 years ago. What motivated that change?
It was literally just, you know what it was? Like I said, I've always been running away from fitness, and in the sense that I loved doing it, but I didn't want to do it 8 hours a day like a personal trainer does. Number one, because it's actually frightfully boring to do personal training all day long when all you're doing is staring at a client and counting for them and saying, do the next exercise. And whilst they're doing a set of 20 lunges, you're just watching that they're doing it correctly. And when you've got a client that does what they're doing correctly, it's frightfully boring. So there's not much to do. And that's one aspect of it. It can, to me, lead to an immense amount of boredom. And the second thing is, as much as I love training people in a class environment, which is what I prefer to one-on-one, love a class. I mean, you've seen me, I love a class environment.
Yeah.
I found a way to teach in a class environment where it doesn't matter what mood I'm in, I can still teach, and people accept that that's who I am. And I found a space to be myself, which is also wonderful. But you can't teach 5 classes all day long. No. It's physically it's just physically taxing.
Mm.
So I knew that I loved what I was doing, and I knew that I loved fitness, but doing it all day long as a personal trainer would bore me, and doing it all day long as a group fitness instructor 8 hours a day would be physically impossible.
You mentioned the pink table, which you haven't actually mentioned to me before. I've seen it on your Instagram, I think, which I was quite interested about. What?
So that is my other passion. And I'm desperate to get back to working on that. And the problem is that it's a restaurant-based project. So you understand it's difficult to get back to. But that was the project that my mother was diagnosed with cancer, I think, gotta think now, 10, 12 years ago, 10 years ago, 8 years ago. Anyway, between 8 and 12 years. And in the process, because I was in the fitness industry, I was trying to figure out ways, where could we take our own level of accountability? What were we responsible for? I don't just say it's up to the doctors to fix me, that there's a level of accountability we all need to take. And two of the things that was in fitness and in diet, because that's really all you can take accountability for, other than mental wellness. And guaranteed, if your fitness and your diet is being taken care of, your mental wellness more than likely will be better anyway. So I needed to figure out where the facts were, and I did a whole lot of research, and I went into World Health Organization says that up to 50% of cancers can be beaten or prevented with wellness management, which includes a healthier diet, frequent exercise, less alcohol, and not smoking. But that's all they really said. So I'm like, well, that's a very loosely written statement. And that's not going to help anyone. So like now, we're talking about instructors that have been thrown into online training that have never done it before. It's overwhelming to the point of being caught like a deer in headlights where you do nothing. It's the same thing with somebody who's got cancer, and then all of a sudden they're like, eat better, exercise more. And if you throw that at them, all they can think of is lettuce and a treadmill. And I'm like, wellness is more than lettuce and a treadmill. Exercise is more than a treadmill. The diet is more than lettuce. And I realized in doing all of this, no one is going to make any change in their life under duress. They're not going to make consistent change. They're not going to make realistic change. And it's never going to be long-term if it's under duress. But they might do it if they're excited. So if you can prove to somebody how exciting exercise can be by offering a variety of exercises, like as an example, the guy I'm teaching with on Wednesday is somebody who teaches something I don't teach, which is box. And it might expose that form of exercise to the people that I train, where they might say, oh, I want to do one of those once a week because that's exciting. And if I lose them to that because they're happy, then that's fine. But it's a case of showing everybody everything you can do. And the same thing with diet. So I knew I had the fitness side covered to a degree, but I knew that I needed to also focus on the diet side. My mom was a diabetic with blood pressure issues, hypertension, cholesterol, and we knew very little about it. And I needed to know what was the most important. So if you go into diet from a World Health Organization perspective, they talk about reducing salt, reducing sugar, reducing carbohydrates, reducing trans fats. And again, that's all they say. And how do you put that into practice? And again, it becomes so overwhelming that you're a deer caught in headlights and you do nothing and you carry on smoking like you did before you got cancer and wait until the second bout of cancer, or you wait until you die. And then you sit there questioning, what did I do wrong? Because you didn't really know the severity of what you were doing wrong. But if you throw fear at the problem, it's not going to solve the problem. So having this whole story, I'll tell you exactly what it is now, but I was actually invited to present at the World Cancer Congress in Malaysia in 2018, this entire project. And I stood there and I said, because it doesn't include me, you as the world's leading cancer organizations, wellness organizations, cancer facilities that are assisting people, you as the world leading cancer institutions are promoting that up to 50% of cancers can be beaten with wellness management, but none of you are dealing with cancer until somebody has it. So if we want to talk to 50% of our population of people that don't have a disease about a disease that they don't have, the last thing they're going to listen to is to you about a disease that they don't have. They don't care. Well, I don't have it, so why must I worry about it? So how do you talk to people about a disease they don't have? Don't talk about the disease. Talk about the solution. What is the solution? Eating healthier. How do you talk to them about eating healthier? Make it exciting. So my concept behind that was then to go to the top restaurants around the world and is to get them to promote what's healthier on their current menus. It doesn't have to be perfectly healthy. It just has to have the noddy badge of that was healthier. And the psychology behind it is I ate something that was healthier. The degree at this stage doesn't always matter. But because I ate something healthy today and it was nice and I didn't realize how much healthier can feel good, I might start seeking even healthier things more often. And if that's all we accomplished, I was accomplishing what my journey was. And so the process behind the Pink Table Project was basically to approach chefs and restaurants and get them to promote whatever was healthier on their menus and expose it so that people might look more towards it. And the more I got some of the leading chefs in the world to do it, and I was very lucky. I got some of the world's best chefs to participate in this project, is to basically promote what's healthier on their current menus, but I, for some reason, was struggling with that. So I sent out a challenge. I did a pink pudding challenge, which had to be a pink, healthier pudding. Put it online saying, this is my pink pudding. Here it is. And that worked out really well, that I had chefs in 26 countries participating.
Oh, fantastic.
And promoting, just creating a little online viral, like the Ice Bucket Challenge, but with pink pudding.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Chef. There was a chef, Saba from Hungary. He did this whole video. We had to fly over the hotel that he was in Hungary, in some resort in the hills, and he did this whole making of his video. And then I thought, okay, that's great. So I've made something cool, but I wasn't really getting people to taste it. So the next challenge was a pink menu challenge, where I was getting chefs to make a healthier pink menu that people could go to on a specific day. And the next step before lockdown was then to try and get chefs to create a menu that is available more frequently, because those were just like individual events. But the intention is to basically saying, here's my new menu. Either they create an entirely separate menu, or they just literally take 2 starters, 2 mains, 2 dessert that's on their current menu that's healthier, and they promote it. And the beautiful part about all of it is especially with promoting it with high fine dining restaurants, is they by default, the more fine dining you are, the more healthier you are. And it's just a discovery that I made, because they're all using natural products. None of them use anything that's got preservatives in it anyway. They all use very little salt. The only thing that they may use a lot of is butter. And the more natural tasting, and this is the trend in the fine dining industry, the more natural tasting something is, the more they want to produce it. And by natural tasting means no added sugars, no added salts, no added, fats. So, and then they all render their stuff down anyway. And they all know that there's this trend going to healthier food. So it was just a beautiful synergy, but it doesn't allow me to access the middle road market. And that was the next step, is how do I translate this into the kitchen of the home? And what I'm hopefully going to get back to this week, if not next week, is allowing me that opportunity that I was the missing link. So I now found a way to access some of the top restaurants in the world, get them to put stuff online, whether they're doing an event or just promoting what's on their current menu. There it is. Is to get these chefs to, I'm challenging the chefs to do a lockdown pantry challenge with no more than 10 ingredients, and it has to be healthier.
Oh, wonderful.
And to basically do a recipe challenge, to provide the recipe for free online. They put it onto, I've got a page called Great Chefs at Home. And they basically are creating a recipe for something that anybody might have in their lockdown pantry. So it can't be exotic products like langoustine, as an example. It can't be horribly expensive, and it can't be exotic, and it has to be locally sourced. And if you're in South Africa and you're talking to somebody in the States, you have to be able to offer an alternative of another option you might find in your country. And the concept of that is now, again, all these restaurants are sitting in a position where none of them are earning and their staff are all earning, but a lot of them have GoFundMe accounts. And that stuff will go online for free, but with the intention of saying, please support our GoFundMe account and go and make a little deposit of your choice. So it's my way to give back to them. And then That's what I'm gonna start working on this week, because I've got the contacts with all the chefs and I'm not using it.
Mm-hmm.
And then one chef a week, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get them to do a live Zoom login where you maybe pay a certain amount of money as a fundraiser to that chef's restaurant, and you can cook with the chef.
Oh, Ryan.
You get all the ingredients in advance. You get told what the ingredient listing is, and here's your ingredients. And it might cost you. It might not be accessible to everybody. It might cost like 500 rand to do, but that money's all going to their GoFundMe account.
Mm.
And you get to cook live with the chef.
Mm.
And then whilst the chef is cooking, I'm doing a Q&A. Ryan K Fitness on Facebook has 3 groups. You can go and have a look. I don't know if you've joined them, but if you like Ryan K Fitness, look, there's 3 groups. There's the Power Block Daily, Commit to Fit, and Power Moves.
Okay.
And just ask to join all 3 groups, and then you'll see exactly what they're all about.
Okay.
It's exactly what I just explained to you. And maybe that's just an indication, just to show people the different things that you can do. And just as a last note, although I've got 3 groups, let's call it 3 platforms as such, other than the live training, there's only 1 video that's recorded every day. And the other stuff is just excerpts of how I edit it, that in terms of how you can use it. And it's a case of, the biggest thing I think we've got to be realizing is, as much as people may be in lockdown, you've got to provide a level of variety to people. That if you're going to, some people just don't have an hour to train. Like all the moms that are now homeschooling, they don't have an hour to train, but they can find 10 minutes. And if they can find 10 minutes, it might be just to do a bum workout, and that's great. So if one, as trainers, can provide versatility, then we're winning.